DSLS was established as an organization to capture the essence of the College of Arts and Sciences through student leaders who would represent the characteristics of the college at USF specifically, and to provide members, students, with a wide range of leadership opportunities and unique occasions to engage with fellow student, alumni, faculty, and community leaders at USF and in the broader Tampa Bay community, and also serve as ambassadors of sorts for the College of Arts and Sciences. And certainly I've been privileged to watch them do that over the last year and a half, and they do a wonderful job. For those of you who graduated a few years ago, the College of Arts and Sciences has grown considerably over the past 10 years, and today is home to almost 20,000 students, over 700 faculty, full-time faculty members, and 150,000 alumni. We have 46 degree programs and study abroad programs in 35 countries and maybe more by now. Capturing all of the colleges encompasses no small task, yet the members of the Dean Student Leadership Society, past and present, year after year, represent CAS in such positive ways across the campus and in the Tampa Bay community and beyond. As I said just a few minutes ago, it's really been my privilege to meet and work with our current DSLS members over the past year and a half. And to tell you a little bit more about the history and the importance of DSLS, I'd like to introduce USF's Senior Vice President of University Community Partnerships and former Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences and founder of DSLS, Eric Eisenberg.
Thank you, Magali. Oh my God, I just want to scream. It's so nice to see all of you. I can't tell you how much joy it brings me to have this celebration today. It seems to me that, there's Samia. It seems to me that as our world becomes more technological and more digital, the role of, and of course this Teams meeting is a great example of that, the role of bricks and mortar has given way to the importance of relationships in structuring our lives. I commonly say that relationships are the load-bearing structures of society and of organizations. And so when Michele, who I see is on the call, which is so exciting, when she approached me with the idea for DSLS over a decade ago, a big part of the idea was to create a network of connections among arts and sciences majors that could last a lifetime. So it's only been 10 years, but I think this event is proof positive that we're well on our way to accomplishing that goal of lifetime connections and friendships. So building relationships and a sense of common identity among arts and sciences students is especially important because unlike the professional colleges like business, medicine, education, nursing, and engineering, CAS students are wildly diverse in their interests, and I'm seeing you here today. We've got international affairs, journalism, women's studies, biology, philosophy, biological sciences. And rather than seeing this as a weakness or as a challenge, I see this diversity as a strength, reinforcing the idea of the importance of a liberal arts education, grounded in communication and critical thinking and inclusive of the science, the social sciences, and the humanities. You may not all know this because you're not old enough to know this, but I've been at USF over 30 years, and when I arrived, they had just brought together the College of Arts and Sciences from 3 separate colleges, College of the Liberal Arts, College of the Sciences, and Social Sciences. And there was a move about 10 years into my time here to divide the college back up into separate colleges. And in particular, the science departments wanted to go out on their own. And the chairs of those departments got together and they talked about it, and they decided that they were stronger together. And they decided that they wanted to have colleagues who had very, very different perspectives. And I'll never forget, like the head of physics and the head of philosophy saying, no, we want to be connected to each other. We understand that that's part of what a broad university can be. So it's really important. It's really unique that we have that interdisciplinarity. Personally, I have to say it was just fun to spend time with you guys over the years. First as students and then as highly successful alumni. Some of you are even married. It feels so good to arrive at community events and immediately see our students in their fancy green shirts, interacting with alumni and friends of the university. And you know how impactful that is to our friends and our alumni to meet the students. That's what they love most of all. And some of you who are introverted, I had to sometimes push you to talk to people, but hopefully you don't hate me for that, and hopefully you had a good experience in having those conversations. I'll never forget the time we spent with Neil deGrasse Tyson and George Takei and people like that, and some of the wonderful, Jane Goodall, the wonderful experiences that we all had. And of course, I love following the adventures of the DSLS alumni on Facebook, where you travel the globe, build your careers, and even more important, you celebrate each other's successes. And so that really speaks to the idea of a lifelong network of connections. So my appreciation for DSLS has expanded even further as I moved from being dean for almost 15 years. I was provost for a year, and now I'm SVP of University Community Partnerships. So I'm basically talking with community members all the time. And while it's surely the case that American society is more polarized today than it has been in a long, long time, the one thing that everybody in our community agrees on is the importance and the wonderfulness of our students and of our work preparing them not just for careers, but for productive and fulfilling lives. And DSLS, I think, really helps to do that. And I am always proud to talk about you guys and to talk about our students when I work with all of our different community partners. So one shining example of everything that I've just described is Dr. Jeremy Lomax, who graduated from USF in 2016, which I guess was 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, and one of our most charismatic and wonderful students who went on to get his doctoral degree at Brown University. I just need to point out that Brown University is one of our new AAU colleagues. And I think about Jeremy all the time and his, perverse interest in fish and the fun that we had back in the day. And I'm excited to hear him talk about his insights and his reflections. So let me turn this over to Dr. Lomax.
It is surreal to be in this room and to hear you say 7 years ago and Dr. Lomax. But yes, that is, I guess, the title that is officially correct. First off, what's good, Sam and Alyssa? It's so good to see y'all. I have kept up with y'all just like from afar and seeing everything like happening through social media. I'm not on as much these days, but it is really good to see other members of my time during DSLS here on this call. Yeah, I was asked to kind of introduce myself, and so I graduated in 2016 from USF. And I just remember that as one of the best times in my life. People always say that college is the best time of your life, but it's hard to, I guess, appreciate it when you're in it. I remember having to wake up at all kinds of random times to go work at the information desk and then sneak study because you weren't supposed to get your homework done while you were working at the desk, and then run over to some buildings on campus that probably aren't even there anymore to go to all these very outdated old labs. But it has been quite the journey. So I was a DSLS member, I believe. Oh my gosh. I got a spring induction and I was brought in by Jasmine Langford. And some of my favorite times in DSLS had to have been the retreats when we first got started, getting a chance to meet the other members that were going to be in your cohort. And then there was a billion different events that kind of kept us all busy. But just like Dean Eisenberg said, meeting George Takei, getting to talk with alumni and donors at a Lightning game. I'd never been to a hockey game before, so that was new for me. I had no idea what was happening, but it's just good to be able to talk to people who seem genuinely interested in what you're doing on campus and who gave you a chance to explain to them like what it was about USF that you love so much and why they should show some kind of support, either through continuing to attend events like that, or of course, financially, we always love to hear that. But since then, I graduated. I went on to Brown, where I got my master's and my PhD studying the biomechanics of fish feeding, specifically looking at piranhas and their plant-eating relatives. I then moved on to a different, larger, more complex organism, humans, where I looked at different types of pathologies, but most importantly, I guess, would be studying gait patterns in patients with ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. And I am now currently a biomechanics consultant based out of Philadelphia, where I look at human injury risk and basically test products so that other companies can say that, hey, we had somebody else look at this, and it's not just us who says that our stuff is safe. I get the most joy out of studying child safety products because it's really hard to put anything on the market that's going to be used for kids, and I'd like to be a part of that process because it's just something that allows me to use the education I got while at USF, while at Brown, to do something that I feel is good to give back. They asked me to give an inspirational message in my 5 minutes, and I've never really been good at inspirational messages, mostly because I think that I'm still very much working towards becoming what I would see as someone who's inspirational. But if there's one thing I can say, it's hard work and being yourself will get you very far in this life. I've always been, I guess, kind of, you call it charismatic. I just call it like a goober. But there's a place for that. And if there's one thing I've realized, it's that there's a place for all types of people. It's just a matter of trying to be as real to yourself and figuring out who you are on a daily basis. Because from day to day, I think I'm one thing, and the next day I might be something else. But there is no substitute for hard work. I remember being an active member of Club Live. I don't know if you guys still call it that. But I was always at the Wawa off of a Fowler eating all kinds of terrible things, then running back to the library. And so if you are in that same, I guess, predicament, sky's the limit. I'm still trying to get to the point where I think that I have made it. And I think the truth is, or what I'm realizing is that every day you kind of have to keep pushing. There is no arriving, and that's okay. But being a part of this community, this DSLS community, is undoubtedly a good first step. And I'm very happy to be a member of this organization with each and every one of you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm sure they'll drop my email in this or something, but it's just really nice to see everybody and good to see that this is still alive and thriving.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm Fabiana Morales. I'm the Vice President of Programming Communications for DSLS. I have a wonderful committee that we set up, awesome socials, and we basically handle social media for DSLS. So it's all the things super fun. I have the honor and privilege of introducing Michele Dye. Michele Dye is the former Director of Marketing Communications in the College of Arts and Sciences. She has an impressive and entrepreneurial resume and can help your resume look better in her current role as Director of Learning and Development at Dynamic Career Goals, where she works to help women get hired, advance their careers through workshops, coaching programs, and more.
Thank you, everyone. It's so great to be here and see all of you. Sorry, my camera is off. I've been getting kicked off Zoom all day. My internet is a little funky, so hopefully I can get through these next few minutes and not get disconnected. So when I took this idea to Dean Eisenberg, I knew the potential immediately because I had previously created a similar organization at the University of Florida, and we're about to celebrate our 20th anniversary of that. So I'm excited to see that it's still thriving. And also, I just enjoy watching your relationships on social media and keeping up with you all and celebrating engagements and buying houses and new jobs and marriages. And it's just a thrill to just watch you guys grow up and enter the sad real world, right? So I hope you take advantage of this opportunity, the current members, to really just build relationships like Dr. Eisenberg was sharing. And these relationships are going to serve you well throughout the rest of your life. It could be alumni that you meet. It could be your fellow members, faculty members that you get to know better, people that you meet through community events. And I just want to really encourage you to foster those relationships. And, you know, I speak a lot at universities, and other events around the country. And there's always questions about networking and how to network effectively. And the big key here, especially when you're starting to go off and look for jobs, is you want to have a healthy network. And networking is a mutual beneficial relationship. It's not something one-sided. It's not something that you just are constantly hitting people up all the time for things. And I just want you to keep that in mind and come from a place of service over self. And I think with so many of you being in this organization, you probably already have a very service-minded set. So I want to just continue to encourage you to build your relationships and take advantage of your time while you're at USF and in the Dean Student Leadership Society, because I speak with businesses a lot, you know, and I go in and I do a lot of leadership and management training, and good leaders and good managers are desperately needed in the workplace, and you don't have to be in charge to be a leader. And I hope through the Dean Student Leadership Society, you've kind of started to understand that. You don't have to have an executive position to be a leader. You're already a leader. And so I just want to encourage you to take advantage of all the opportunities you're given, because it's going to serve you well when you take your first job. And you want to make sure that you're able to comfortably share your ideas and influence people so that you can create the positive change you wish to see in the world. And with that, I will introduce Samantha. And Samantha had a double role in my office. Not only was she a member of the Dean Student Leadership Society, but she also helped us with development and name tags for events and alphabetizing name tags for events, and she'll know what I'm talking about. And she has gone on to really do some impressive things in her career. She graduated from USF in 2016 with a degree in public administration and political science. And I was so excited when she had the opportunity to go on to American University to continue her education for her MPA. And it was so fun watching her just blossom in DC and get to do the things that she worked so hard on through her experience through the TIP program as well at USF. And so with that, Samantha, I'll turn it over to you, who just got back to Italy, and all of her food photos were making me very jealous.
Of course. Thank you all. And can everyone hear me okay? Okay, perfect. Like Michele, my internet has also been a little wacky today. So hi, Anne. So I am on a hotspot right now. So apologies if I lag at all. But it's so great. And I echo a lot of Jeremy's sentiments of what he already said. But it is really so great to see this organization continuing to thrive and grow. You know, I follow DSLS on Facebook and Instagram, and it is just so much fun to see you guys continuing to do all of the great work that we said 10 years ago, which is a little hard to believe. So like Michele was saying, you know, I was in the class of 2016 with Jeremy and Alyssa. Shout out to you both. We were all, I think, in the same introduction class of DSLS. I have a you know, my concentrations of my degree were political science and public administration. And one of the things that I really did try to take advantage of my time at USF was really just all the opportunities. You know, I do remember sitting in, it might have been the development office, honestly, at USF, sitting there going, I could graduate in 3 years, but why don't I do some internships? You know, USF has a wealth of programs. So I participated actually in 2 different internship programs when I was at USF. One, the Washington Center, and it was a little bit mind-blowing for me to realize that it was 10 years ago this semester that I spent my first semester in Washington, D.C. at the Washington Center. And through a generous scholarship and through USF, I was able to intern at the U.S. State Department for almost 6 months, which was quite an invaluable experience. And then furthermore, as Michele mentioned, I also participated in the Tallahassee internship program, where I got to live and work in Tallahassee at the Florida State Capitol for 2 months and really kind of get my hands dirty with, you know, the state level politics work. And it really helped me develop my interest in healthcare policy, as, you know, I'm someone who's always sought the challenge and always wanted to continuously challenge myself academically, I figured while I parlay into my career, why not pick one of the most complicated policy topics, which is healthcare. So like Michele mentioned, I moved to Washington, D.C. right after graduation, enrolled at American University and got my master's in public administration in 2018. And it was really the foundation that I built in USF through my connections, with the Dean Student Leadership Society, Dean Eisenberg, and others, that I was really able to thrive in DC, and I felt very prepared because of my experiences at USF, that I was able to, move 1,000 miles away and really feel secure and thrive in Washington, DC during my master's program. So I worked full time while in my master's program. I worked at the National Alliance on Mental Illness doing federal healthcare policy. I consulted for a few years, and now I've landed at a biotechnology company called Genentech, where I do U.S. public policy work on Medicare and Medicaid coverage of prescription drugs. So definitely a turbulent time in politics in the United States and public policy, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Similar to what Jeremy was saying, I was asked to share an inspirational message, and he took half of mine, which was to, work hard. I really do think that, working hard, and kind of to Michele's point as well, of making connections. I know alumni, myself included, we love talking to current students. I could talk all day about how I love my time at USF, how I ended up where I am, but I really do encourage everyone here to really tap into the network that you have and build those connections, because over time I got to where I am because of the connections I've made and people helping me along the way. Don't think you can do it all by yourself, and you are all very capable and smart people, but those connections are really helpful, and you should totally utilize the network that you have at USF. I even was shocked when I went to a USF event in DC that we have thousands and thousands of USF alumni in DC alone. So now that's something I'm taking on as myself, even 8 years later after graduation, to make sure I can tap into my network and so on. So it really just is a pleasure to be here with all of you, and it's really great to see this organization continue to thrive, and it just makes me so happy to see all of you. So I guess that being said, I can pass it over to our first alumni speaker. Grace, tell me if I did that correctly.
You sure did. And we have a very special alum who couldn't be here with us, so I am going to play this video.
I don't think we can hear it. Can you hear it?
No. Grace, I think share the audio.
Okay, I'm not sure why that's not working. I tested it, but we will go to the next alumni and see if I can get that to work. I think Alyssa, you're next.
All righty. Can everybody hear me? Sort of, kind of. Okay, great. Hello, my name is Alyssa Culp. It's so great to see all of you, especially Jeremy and Sam and Dean Eisenberg and Michele. I miss all of you very much. I am currently in Bloomington, Illinois, freezing to death. So I miss Tampa quite a bit. So my majors while at USF were history and religious studies, and I graduated with Sam and Jeremy in 2016. And since then, I earned my master's and PhD at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. I studied history, and I specialized in the history of medicine. And my first book is about the history of the morgue. So if you're interested in the creepy and the weird and the supernatural, I'm always happy to talk about it. Right now, I'm currently working as a visiting assistant professor of history at Illinois Wesleyan in Bloomington, Illinois. And here I teach the history of medicine and public health and European and global history. So I'm actually really loving it here, more than I thought I would, but I sure do miss the sunshine. I was asked to speak about my time in DSLS, and I have quite a few memorable moments, and many of them were crazy times and stressful times. There were dunk tanks. There were donut buffets, intense scavenger hunts that would make you question if you were going to be the loser or the winner. Legendary golf cart rides, which made me question USF's golf cart license program. And you can ask Samantha Holland a bit more about that. I was able to work the football box with Jeremy, and that was a really cool experience because I had never been in a VIP box before. And yes, we did smuggle leftover food out of the stadium. I was able to eat cake with George from Star Trek. So those were memorable moments, but I think the most memorable thing about DSLS for me wasn't really a specific event. It was more the support and encouragement I received. By sophomore year, I still hadn't really found my place at USF. I usually had my nose in a book and I was looking to the future. But with DSLS, I found a group of people with similar goals and aspirations, and it made all the difference in my future after USF. You know, your parents always tell you that you can be anything you want to be when you grow up, but they leave out the fine print of all the challenges that you'll face along the way. And I wanted to be a history professor, and it was challenging. It was a goal that people discouraged me from pursuing until I got to DSLS. Michele, Christina, Ryan, Dean Eisenberg, some of my fellow DSLS members all encouraged me to go for it and to make that leap and do what I loved. So I actually left my comfort zone, applied for PhD programs full of imposter syndrome, and I made it. And looking back today, I'll never forget the day that Jeremy and I found out that we got into our dream programs. It really was surreal. And now I'm in a career that I absolutely love. And I owe much of that to the support that I got while being in DSLS. So my advice to all of you is do what you love and the rest will fall into place.
Thanks, Alyssa. I'm going to try this one more time. I think I figured it out.
Hi, everyone. My name is Caitlin Coleman, and I graduated from USF in May of 2023 with my Bachelor's of Science in Microbiology and a minor in Infection Control. I joined DSLS in the spring of 2020, and I served as the VP of Recruitment for 2 years. I would say my favorite event from my time in DSLS would have to be the Trailblazer series. CAS always brought in incredible speakers, and I truly enjoyed having that time to sit with CAS alumni and donors, as well as listen to an amazing presentation.
And Caitlin could not join us today because med schools are fighting over her to come join their school. So we will jump back in with Alanis.
Hi, everyone. I am a fairly recent addition to the DSLS alumni. I joined DSLS in the spring of 2021. Actually, let me start by introducing myself. Hi, everyone. I'm Delanis. I was a biomedical sciences major with a minor in psychology. Very basic, very normal. But as I mentioned, I graduated in December, and I'm super excited to finally join the DSLS alumni. My major is very basic. I feel like everywhere I walked on campus, everyone was like a biomedical science major, a biomedical sciences major. And I started at USF in 2020, middle of the pandemic. I didn't really have the time, or actually not even the space, because the school was closed and we were online. I couldn't really make connections with anyone. And then I just saw a post. It was a flyer, DSLS. I was like, this is scary because it has the word leadership and dean in the same place. What the heck? What do I do? And I applied. Caitlin actually was the VP of recruitment at the time. and I got inducted into DSLS. I moved on my second semester with DSLS. I became VP of Member and Alumni Engagement. I can recognize Kara. I saw you earlier. My role as VP was to set up events like this to join our alumni, whether that was CAS or DSLS. And I absolutely loved it. It's one of it was one of my favorite parts about being in DSLS. But I share the same sentiment as Alyssa. My time at DSLS, I don't really have one event that I can pinpoint. Of course, I loved being able to participate in events I didn't think I could go to because they were so fancy and they had bars, and I was like, ooh, what? And they had food, and I was like, wow, I'm here with all these amazing people. Like, what am I doing here? It was imposter syndrome at its best. And then I got the chance to speak to our former dean, Dean Eisenberg, in our dean's lunch. And if anything, I have to say that was one of my favorite events of all time. And now with Dean Michael as well, I know we're doing those as well with her. I loved being a part of those, being able to have our dean so close and just ask questions and just talk to them about who they are and what they think about other things was something that really opened my mind. But the networking and the friends I made and the people I met, that's what I took from DSLS. That's what DSLS means to me. And I am so, so grateful for this opportunity. I'm so happy I get to be here with all of you now. I see some new faces, which I am assuming is some of our people from our newest class. So welcome, welcome. And I hope to see you as an alumni soon. And I want to thank you all for making this a great experience for me. I could not have done this without any of you. I don't really have an advice because I am just starting my career. But I have gotten accepted into med school, woo. So I will be starting in August, future MD. Super excited to keep you all in the ropes about how my life is going. But I wish you all nothing but the best. And thank you again for making my experience at DSLS so memorable.
Can everyone hear me? I think internet issues are a common thing. I have been working from a coffee shop this afternoon, so please excuse the background noise. My name is Erin Danbury, and I graduated in the fall of 2017 with a degree in pure mathematics. 2 years after that, I got married, so we're going on 6 years next month, actually, of marriage. And I started working at PricewaterhouseCoopers in the fall of 2018, just after getting married. And I work in their information security and cybersecurity departments, helping with product rollout, ensuring security of data and information, not only for our firm, but also for clients that either host data with us or are hosting it within technologies that we have developed and deployed to them. I was afforded the opportunity to go back to school for my master's in information security, which PwC paid for graciously. And I graduated in the spring of 2021 during COVID with that master's degree. And I am back in school again for a second master's in organizational and change leadership, as I'm hoping to transition into a senior manager role this year at the company. And one thing that I would just say is, when Krista Banky from the Honors College recommended that I apply to DSLS, I was nervous at first because I am the introvert that Dean Eisenberg had to push out of their shell. But it was one of the most amazing opportunities that I had. Living off campus during my time as an undergraduate student, it was hard to connect on campus with students since I was traveling back and forth to home. So it really created a sense of community and family for me, where I was able to make new friends, find like-minded people that were just as driven as I was to become a professional in the field of my choosing, and to establish goals to help get there. And the small piece of advice that I would give is along the lines of what Michele already said, is stay plugged in and lean in. One of my fondest memories is after an event at the Strat Center, a group of us just congregated outside, trading stories and advice on what to do once we graduated, and leaning into those opportunities to connect and develop those friendships is what really helps set you up for success.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Awesome. I have to say it's really surreal to be here. It feels, I'm a relatively recent alumni, so it feels very much like, whoa, I can't believe I'm in this position right now. But hi, everyone. My name is Chris. My major at USF is biomedical sciences, and I graduated from USF in spring of 2022. It was a huge honor to be a part of DSLS during that time from 2020 to 2022. And I will try to sprinkle some advice throughout this for anyone who would like it. After graduating, I had a lot of interests, and it was really hard to explore that at first. So if you're someone who does not know what they want to do yet, taking time to really explore those interests and see what your priorities are, how to move forward on that, speaking with people in positions you would want to be in, that helped me out a lot. And I took a lot of time to explore that. And at the end of my process, I wanted to be a human factors engineer. For those who are not familiar with human factors engineering, if you think about anything that you interact with in the environment, whether that's your computer, your car, your chair, anything that you interact with as a person, I can study that as a human factors engineer. And it took some time to figure out that that's what I wanted to do. And now, thankfully, I am attending graduate school. I am at the University of Buffalo, if anyone's familiar with that, up in New York. And it's a huge honor to be a part of that as well. So I did want to bring up two specific moments from DSLS that stood out to me in my journey. The first was, I'm surprised this hasn't been mentioned yet, but we do have a mentorship program. If anyone's interested in being a mentor, please do it. It's a great way to have an impact on not just the university, but also the organization. But as part of the mentorship program, we got to have a interview workshop for mentees. And at the end of doing it one year, one of the mentees had told us that at first they didn't really know what to do for interviews, but not only did they feel more confident after doing it, but they felt ready to take on interviews. And I feel like that camaraderie and development that we have on each other as DSLS members, as alumni, as members of the community, that makes a huge difference. And the second thing that happened too that I look back on fondly is during my senior year, we had a situation where there were a lot of pre-med and pre-law students in DSLS, and that's fantastic. I'm really happy about that. But as Dean Eisenberg mentioned earlier, there's a lot of majors in CAS, and something we were concerned about was that there wasn't as much representation all throughout the college. So during one recruitment year, we put a lot of effort into reaching out to advisors, reaching out to student organizations, and making sure we were contacting people who were in each major in CAS. And it took a lot of work, but at the end of that process, we ended up having a more diverse set of members coming in. And it felt really great because, I mean, it felt great, but it also felt sad because I was graduating that year and I really wanted to work with everyone who was there. But overall, it was such an honor to be able to be part of that journey. And for anyone who's worked with me and interacted with me, thank you all so much. It's like, you have no idea how much you've helped me shape into a better person over time, a better leader and everything too. And if anyone ever wants to reach out, I'm always here. And thank you all so much for everything.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Okay. Hello, my name is Nicholas Gento. I am not an alumni. I'm still a third year student. My major is chemistry with a minor in environmental science, and I am chairman of recruitment in Dean Student Leadership Society. So while I am not graduated yet, I graduate next spring. I will say from my perspective, being in Dean Student Leadership Society, I feel so ready to be a part of the alumni from USF. I feel that we will get the best connections through USF, and I know that we work so hard to connect with our alumni, and they work just as hard to stay in contact with us. So I feel extremely excited and ready to be a part of that. Some of my favorite experiences at DSLS, I was inducted last spring, so I've been in it for about a year now. But some of my favorite events have definitely been the Trailblazers. We have such a great opportunity to network and connect with so many great alumni and amazing people doing really innovative research. And I have just really enjoyed, meeting people and seeing what USF has offered them and how they've grown from being past that. My plans after I graduate is I plan to pursue a PhD in chemistry, and I feel more than ready to go to graduate school and to work with future alumni.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Najib. I'm the current president of DSLS. I wanted to take a couple minutes to show you all a slideshow that we've put together on what DSLS has been up to these past couple of years, just the past 2 years, just photos of events that we've gone to. So if you'll just let me share my screen. Can everyone see my screen? We can't see you, so if you could like say it. Oh, we're good. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. So I'll go into a little bit of the College of Arts and Sciences events we go to and we represent at. So we've had just a couple, recently we had a couple members go to the basketball game, the women's basketball game specifically with Dean Michael, and to talk one-on-one with a couple of donors. And we had the Earth Democracy and the women, and then we have a couple of trailblazers, and we actually had Nick talk at one of them. And then there's a group photo there. Trailblazers, as you all know, is one of our like peak events that we have students attend, and it's just a great way for us to network and to hear like success stories. We had the Dr. Barnett Milani talk in the Honors College, and we had the Democracy and Citizen series, and the Fast 56 Awards and the Frontier Forums. As you all remember, the Frontier Forums are something we do fairly often. And we also had the Women in Gender Studies 50th anniversary. For our community outreach events, we have reoccurring botanical gardens. We take a big group of DSLS members and we head over and do some volunteer work there, just to help, you know, whether it's like picking up trash or anything with planting new things. We actually, this was the first time we went to a middle school. So we had a Great American Teach-In. So we had a couple of DSLS members attend and just talk about not just DSLS, but what it's like being a college student, how to manage the move from middle school to high school to college. And we had a lot of the students give a go full sign. It was a really rewarding experience. We, again, still have our freshman mentoring program still going on. Arguably one of our most successful semesters just passed, and we're really excited for that. That was the first day picture. And then we have, of course, our professional development events. Our etiquette luncheons are a staple with us. It's always good to have all of us there and just to learn basic etiquette, just so we're not throwing fish in the deep end. So those are always a hit. And then we had our scholar mixer as well last year. And it was just nice to get to know the development office more intimately. In our recruitment events, induction is always there. Induction is always fun to induct the new members, show them what it's like, what we are as DSLS, and have guest speakers attend. We just had, we have amazing guest speakers all the time, and yeah. Retreats. We've heard so much about these retreats. They're always fun to have the just new members meet the even graduating members, just so we can talk about our experiences and have the new members take a peek at what it looks like to be a part of each committee and see which one interests them and getting the connections started. This year, also in the fall, we had our very first DSLS open house, and we're really proud of that. We sent out at least 600 first-year students information to come over to the room, and so we could just have each committee had a table and we discussed everything there is about DSLS, and we had a pretty good turnout, and we do see an increase in application numbers, so there is a nice correlation that we're proud of, and so I hope we get to continue that even after this board graduates, and I hope we'll continue it. Socials. It's always fun to let go, you know, have that good work-life balance. We have really creative socials going on. We had the kayaking, we had yoga day, and then we had just this past semester, the field day. It got very competitive. Some committees think they won. Some are, I don't know what they weren't at that field day if they think they won. So again, more socials. We had a Valentine's social, a winter social, and a horror movie night social. I don't like horror movies, so I had to leave early, but I'm sure it was a really good time. Anyways, this is just a peek at what we've been up to these past couple years, but here's to many more years of DSLS. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. All right, I'm also going to take this time to announce a new engagement opportunity. As you can see, DSLS has continued to thrive and will continue to thrive throughout the next couple of years. And so a final exciting development I get to announce today is the official DSLS support fund. So this fund will help close the gap on immediate needs that DSLS needs. It'll offer financial assistance to the entire organization, and it'll provide DSLS members with scholarship opportunities. This has been in the works and in the talks for as long as I've been a member, and it just feels exceptionally right to announce it in honor of our 10-year celebration. So please keep an eye out for more details and surprises on how to get involved. And I also would like to take this time to thank you all for listening to us today and being such an inspirational and supportive group. DSLS wouldn't have reached 10 years if it wasn't for each and every single one of you. Beyond just the development office, beyond our donors, our alumni keeping in touch, we wouldn't have our alumni seminars without you all, and we wouldn't have 10 years without any of you. And coming back and sharing your experiences and that, like, we can do it, we can move forward. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole. As you can all see, we have kept the tradition with many events. We're still doing a lot of the same, and we've added a couple of new things. So it's really exciting time of year as we enter our recruitment season. So I appreciate all of the alumni who shared today. Thank you so much for telling your stories and inspiring the students who are on this, who can see themselves in your shoes in just a few short years. I think you've reinvigorated them a bit by sharing, and you're all doing awesome, cool things. We are really, really excited to be celebrating 10 years. I will have been in this role coming up on just a year, but I have to say it is so fun to get to happen to be here on the 10-year mark and bring everyone back together. As Kelly said, we're getting the band back together, and this is just the start of that. So we're going to hope to pull in more alumni, send you all more information, and you've all been so kind as to, offer your support and time. And I know there are many students who will take you up on that opportunity. One little closing here, and this is a new activity for me, so I'm hoping this is fun. Oh, maybe it won't work. Okay, well, never mind. We were gonna make a little word cloud with all of the things that reminded us of DSLS. So maybe let's just keep it alive still, and if everyone just wants to put one word in the chat that makes them think of DSLS, or maybe that they felt today, that might be a nice place to see that. And then I will pass to Dean Michael. Please keep an eye out for more communications. As we said, this is kind of just the start of our alumni network and getting the band back together. So thank you all.
I just want to thank all of you for attending today and for participating in this event, and also thank everybody who presented today. It was just so great to hear from so many people today, some of whom I have met and some of whom I have not met before. I'd also, as Grace mentioned and several other people mentioned, there'll be lots of other messages coming to you moving forward. We'd also love to see some of you back on campus. Those of you who are still in the area, we have lots of events coming up, so please, check out our website. In fact, we have lots and lots of stories about what our faculty and students are doing up on our website. We've been really developing a lot of information about what people are doing in the college. So please check it out. It's really good. And we would like to reconnect with all of you. So please let us know when you're in the area. We'd love to have you come back and visit. We also love to have people come and talk about their careers. Our students love to hear from alumni, and especially from young alumni, and most of you are young alumni still. And our students really like to see, what are people doing, a year down the road, 2 years, all the way to 10 years, right? So let us know if you would be willing to do that, and we will help organize it. So again, thank you so much for attending, and we will keep doing these. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Also, if any of you have any questions for us as of what we're up to, we're happy to answer them if you have any. This is all of eBoard as of right now.
I actually have a quick question.
What?
Do we have an alumni network by any chance?
Honest, are you not on the LinkedIn?
No, I don't think I am.
Well, you will.
Alanis, I'll find you on LinkedIn and add you. I got you. Most of the people in this room can attest. I found them pretty easily. You guys have very unique names.
Thank you.
Anyone else who hasn't joined the alumni network, it is on LinkedIn. If you do a quick search, you'll be able to find it. Current members, you'll have to wait shortly. Thanks, everyone.